Maccabees are here in the studio with us. Now, we are at Longitude. We are probably, this must be the hottest day of the year, is it? It's got to be.
Yeah, we just heard that the paddling pools have all been sold out from the entire island. The entirety of Ireland.
The paddling pools have all been sold out in the entire island. You've run out of paddling pools. Okay, Maccabees are here, and you're going to be taking the stage soon enough, so I want to talk Maccabees for a second. Given to the Wild, current and third album, that is. Let's take a look, first of all, from Colour It In and Wall of Arms and that. The third album, do you think you approached it differently and therefore it sounds different? Were you looser than you had been? Did you allow yourself more freedom in the studio? Did you do... I can ask 1,000 questions if you like.
That's good. No, just fire them away. We've got to get ready for the...
Were we looser than we have been?
Probably.
Feel looser?
Yeah, I don't know.
We're probably getting looser all the time, yeah. I think it was a very different process to anything we've done before. It took 3 years that people keep reminding us, which feels like quite a long time, doesn't it? And it was never intended to be played live or anything. We wanted to make an album that held a different atmosphere to anything we've done before. And that's what
so, in other words, you want to be able to play an album that people will play in their bedrooms and play in their cars, whatever, and it doesn't necessarily have to be something that, oh, we can't do this because it won't work on stage. Doesn't matter if it doesn't work on stage.
Exactly.
Correct.
That's somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Well,
so
then it becomes our problem, and we regret not thinking that far ahead.
And it has been our problem.
You didn't have a 40-piece orchestra on stage, did you?
I can't afford them.
Can't afford them.
They're all out looking for
Couldn't afford
paddling
the
pools.
record.
All right, well, anyway, Felix and Orlando are here. We're talking Maccabees here, and I would imagine that the way you say it, like in terms of 2006, 2009, like it's slow enough with the Maccabees, and that's the way it should be. Like the amount of bands that now, ta-da, and then next week they're gone. You've done it in a kind of a incremental kind of way, haven't you?
I think it's difficult for a lot of bands, and to be honest, I think if that had happened to us, we wouldn't have made that third record. You know, it's been nice to be able to have our own space to do that, which is how bands used to do it. And so it's been nice, yeah. Yeah,
right, exactly. But that doesn't happen to bands much anymore. Most bands don't get to the fourth album even these days, you know. Which is not to say that you won't. I'm sure you will.
We are.
We're halfway there.
It is. We've been going a while now, you know.
Yeah.
It's a survival story.
But is it a good thing, for instance, like to go to the States and to play a big gig like you would, like if you play around Britain all the time, around Europe, you play to a certain sized audience all the time. Play to New York, it's the same. Play to LA, it's the same. Then you go in the middle of America. Is it good for you to get right back down there and realise, oh, this is small?
We were just talking about actually. You enjoyed the setting up of the gear, didn't you?
Yeah, I like being a roadie. I'm pretty good at it.
Self-made roadie. You have to, like you say, you play very different types of gigs, so you have to end up just enjoying playing music for what it is. You localise the experience.
And also, you can have a really good gig with a load of people or very few people, and you can also have a really bad gig with.
Of course,
you know. So you kind of take each one as on its merits.
Would it be fair to say that one of the good things also about the Maccabees would be that you couldn't really play that well in the early days? No, I'm serious. And
That's true.
And you learn your trade with those gigs, even in front of a lot of drunks and some party kind of gigs, or whatever it happens to be. And you get to a point where it's always the next rung of the ladder.
Absolutely true. Yeah.
Slow learners.
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean that.
No, we are.
No, I meant that you were given the time to develop as other bands haven't. God, you're just playing everything I say. What about like these festivals, this kind of thing? Like a lot of the bands that have played at these festivals, it's usually everything from Kasabian to Arctic Monkeys, or then it's bands that come back together like The Cure or Stone Roses or whatever. Do you like that whole idea when bands come back and be the heritage act? Or do you think they should stay where they were?
I think if I was in one of those bands, I would have done exactly the same thing. But personally, I think I was glad this year that Biffy Clyro had the chance to headline Reading.
Right.
Whether you like them or not, I think that's a really good thing. And for example, Foals are headlining Latitude on Sunday.
Right.
And I think bands like that need to be given that trust to do that now, you know, because we can't. Festivals are going to start losing their appeal if you have rotating acts of like 5 bands, and then, you know, like a lot of bands from the 80s that are coming back for money, you know.
Yeah, right, indeed, yeah. What about music as in grown up before Maccabees and all that? Was it parents' record collection? Was it the radio? Was it Old Grey Whistle Test, even Top of the Pops, whatever?
Old Grey Whistle Test, definitely.
Really?
XTC and Dr. Feelgood. We watched that a lot. The Band, The Last Waltz. I grew up listening to the Beatles and Van Morrison and Bob Dylan and whatever in the car.
What about you, Orlando?
Yeah, my parents didn't really listen. They listened to a lot of classical music, but Beatles was we had a tape.
And
that was like car journeys, you know.
Have you? Do you think you've brought any kind of a classical influence kind of thing to the Maccabees on any level at all? No, seriously, is it possible?
I don't know. I guess you kind of absorb that stuff a little bit, so maybe in some sense, but I couldn't pinpoint. I couldn't say, well, in this song, that Rachmaninoff really.
And how did you kind of, if you like, bond the two of you? Was it one band? Was it one thing when you met at first?
I was really close friends with Lan's brother at school, so I would just be around when we were 13 or 14 all the time. And the first time I met Land, he had done his hair in corn braids.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, just to see how it felt.
How did it feel?
Uncomfortable, very uncomfortable.
Yeah. I haven't seen him since.
By the way, when you say XTC, what was it about XTC or something, a band like that? I mean, like, they're very kind of cerebral and mathematical and brilliantly kind of... the approach to their music is a lot different than a lot of other bands.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. I think it's an identity, isn't it? It's something you can't explain why bands are great bands. It's just something about the specific chemistry between personalities
and it was
and
charming.
people.
Like that performance where he's just put your acid spanglers on.
Yeah,
stuff like that. I
brilliant.
didn't even know what an acid spangler was. So.
Yeah, and they had a sense of humour as well, I think, which is like very evident. It's great.
But Felix, if you were listening to music like, for instance, maybe Bob Dylan or Loudon Wainwright in the past, would you listen to Bob Dylan and Loudon Wainwright now as they've grown older?
Yeah, absolutely, I would. Yeah, I think definitely the great thing about Bob Dylan and Loudon Wainwright is that they're you grow up with, or people have grown up with them, so you can chart because of the way Loudon Wainwright's written songs, very self-reflecting, whatever.
Yeah.
You've actually experienced his entire life with him from the age of 20, and that is a really incredible thing because the things that he's been through are the things that everyone goes through.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's talking about himself, so I think that's a
And he's
beautiful
always very
thing.
honest to who he is, whatever age he happens to be at the time. He's got an album out at the moment, I can't remember, but it's called I'm Older Than My Old Man Now.
Yeah,
and there's
yeah,
one song on
brilliant.
it called My Meds.
Yeah.
There's another one called I Remember Sex.
Yeah.
So he goes with them at whatever age he is, and it's kind of works
Yeah,
perfectly.
there's a great album called Last Man on Earth that he made at the start of early 2000s, which was an absolutely incredible record.
Okay, like, you have been around long enough now at this stage to have been both. What I mean by that is this, like the old way of the record industry and the way it's changed now, and the way so much is kind of online based or whatever. It's like part of the newer generation of bands who embrace the benefits of, if you like, the social network boom towards the end of the last decade, into this one now, MySpace, all that kind of thing. How do you find whichever? Did you like it better? Did you think it was better the way it used to be? More rigid record companies, all the rest?
What do you think?
It's sort of happened, sort of like you say, like whilst we've been going, and
You almost didn't notice the change.
yeah, it happens. It's one of those sort of gradual things, and I
We
couldn't tell you what was better because I don't think we saw enough of how it really, the kind of the old school, and I
We
don't
missed the
think
glory years, didn't we?
we missed the glory years. Yeah.
Do you think in some ways that the album now, Given to the Wild, as opposed to the Wall of Arms and Colour It In, is less guitar based, maybe, possibly?
There's just as many guitars on it, if not more, but they're
sound.
affected. And the first two records were just pretty much playing straight up as we rehearsed them. So yes and no.
What about number 4? I think you guys have to go. Are you going to be on soon?
We're on in
6.
45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
You better go and do a group hug.
Yeah.
With the other guys. All right. So what about Given to the Wild follow up number 4? Is that going to happen sometime soon?
Yeah, so we've recorded 2 songs, finished them, and we're going to write the rest of it and record it by the end of the year.
Okay, look, I'm going to play something from Given to the Wild later, but right now we're going to go over to the live stage here now, over the stage, main stage for, I think Local Natives are on now, are they? Yeah, let's take something still from Local Natives.